And welcome to the first official episode of Aftercraft, the official Lovecraft Country after show.
Yeah, we started on episode 6, but that's our business.
You know, we're a little late to the party, but better late than never.
Things happen.
Exactly. Things happen. Man, what an episode.
That I'm very glad that we got. At first I was like, dang, a whole episode in the past. I'm not too fond of episodes like that. And this was worth it.
It definitely was worth it. Are we gonna address the elephant in the room just right off the bat? Because I gotta tell you, man, that threw me completely off.
I literally screamed. I was screaming. There's nothing that you could do except scream because, like, they kept coming. Like,
exactly.
One tail, and then it was another one, and then her ears, right, and then her nose and her eyes, and her mouth. I was like, oh.
No.
It's nice to see that she could control it, but that's the end. But I guess we should start from the beginning of the episode. We see Jima in a movie theater in Korea, enjoying herself, watching Judy Garland, and you think everything is all cool or whatever. You don't think nothing of it. She's daydreaming. She's living her best life, and I can't help but think about it. It's not me.
Yeah, so okay, the setup is interesting because there are all of these cultural things that they're injecting into the show. Like, all right, so there's this tension, the sexual tension between her and her friend in the hospital that you're like, all right, where's this going? And then I'm gonna tell you right off the bat, when they did the little dating thing, right? And all of the dudes crossing her off the list, and then all of a sudden she gets to the last one and they make a connection, and all of a sudden dude just crosses off the list. I was just like, yo, what's up with that?
You know, I wasn't surprised that he gave her the X at all. If anything, I was like, I'm expecting it, but I didn't understand why. And I mean, now that, you know, we saw a little further in the episode, I think that was fight or flight. I think they knew something was up, and his spirit was like, nah. And as for the sexual tension with the friend, although I don't put it so much on Jima as I do on her friend. Her friend was doing all the work. I thought, and the friend's name was I wrote it down, was Uni.
Yeah.
Young Ja Uni was the friend's name. Uni, I thought was doing it all, but I didn't really understand what Uni's motivation was. But Shima was studying her. At first, I didn't realize it, but Shima said those words at the speed dating because that's exactly what her friend said. In a way, I kind of wonder as to whether or not her friend knows something was up. We'll never really know. But
the neighbors know, right? So like I guess the question is, how big is the town? Like, because her mom Uma was saying that they were dishonored and she hadn't been invited to the neighbors. So it's like, how small is this community? Because how many people know what happened? And this is I have to call this out because it's the whole Nine Tails thing. I'm like, oh, that's Naruto. That's his whole back. It is though. Like, he's the Nine-Tailed fox spirit.
As for the town, I don't think the town knows, because if that's the case, that man, the first man who was killed, wouldn't have come home with her. I thought the town disowned them because the husband died. And, you know, the wife was an outsider who had used him to move up. In some cultures, widows ain't worth a thing. And I mean, back then, women were the property of their husbands. Remember when Uni was talking about possibly leaving school because there was a man who was interested in her? Like, that was the thing, to be married to someone who can take care for you, and you in turn would, for lack of better terms, be controlled by them. And when the husband died, although we didn't know why at the time, the neighbors disowned them for that, and I think that's the reason why.
Yeah, and we'll actually going back to that, the setup for that was it was like, all right, so she's got is the dishonor because she's not married, she's unmarried, and she's older, like she should have been married by this point in time. It's that she's taking a degree instead, and so like this dishonor thing is because she's still single. Like that was kind of where my head was initially.
I think the dishonor was more on the mom, but in general, it's a family thing. So that's why she was saying she wanted to go to school to bring honor back to the family. If one person is dishonored, it's on everybody. So not only were, the husband died and now she was a widower, she didn't come from anything. That was the husband's home that they were in. Basically without him, she was nothing. Also, let's not forget, she had a child out of wedlock. That's what the problem was. So she basically was a harlot. Right. The people necessarily didn't really like her anyway, but she did marry this man who brought her honor. He clearly had some sort of money or something going for him.
Sort of like status and prestige.
Right. And then when he died, it's like, and I'm sure there's questions around his death, right? Because of the way that he died. So they lost favor because of the type of woman that the mom was and the fact that she's now a widow.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me get to the comments real quick. Hey, Ma. How you doing? Yeah. Cooper. Crazy episode, right?
That was
crazy. Cool. Layers once again. We just getting more layers, man. To write in this.
Layers.
Tony,
welcome to the show.
What's going on? Yeah. See, I like, bro, when she at the end was reading it, I was like, bro, why is this the Naruto intro? That was the whole spirit.
That, would that count as an Easter egg? Would that count as an Easter egg?
No, like that's the real story of the nine-tailed fox.
Oh,
like that's the real folklore. Like I didn't know that. Like, but so now I guess this is Korean folklore where the nine-tailed fox, or the demon of the demon spirit, nine-tailed fox comes from Korea. Probably. I have to watch the after show tomorrow, the podcast.
And I will say, until she said that, I thought she was a bug.
Yeah, I thought she was a spider. No bull. Like I thought she was a spider because the way the little tentacles or whatever tails, I guess they're tails.
Hairy.
Bruh, I was like, yo, she's a whole little spider.
I was screaming in my house.
Yeah, and Ronnie, I can imagine you having one eye open. Probably at the edge of your seat. Woo, this one was crazy.
I couldn't close it. I was like this the whole time.
Yeah, intense focus, bro. I don't even think I blinked.
By the way, as Americans, we are crazy spoiled because I was trying to tweet about this show and I kept looking down, not realizing I can't speak Korean. So I had to put the phone down so I could keep it. They were going in and out, and I was like, you know what? I don't even know if I really need to be live tweeting because I need to pay attention here.
Exactly. Yeah. I had to do the same thing because like every single time I heard them speaking Korean, I had to stop and look and go and just read because I'm like, all right, because I'm not going to be able to talk about this. I have no idea what they're saying.
I felt so. When I saw Atticus on screen for the first time and I realized, wow, like this is who he was, I now have context for him on the show saying several times that he wasn't a good dude. Now I do understand.
Hold on. Let's talk about that whole scene right there because that was wild.
That was a lot. First of all, they just popped those women, not even knowing who's who. That was rough to see.
It was interesting. And you know what normally happens, which I thought was interesting when there's a scene like that, it's usually like a white CO, like, and this was like was it an all black platoon or like the CO was black, like everybody who was doing the execution was black. I thought that was an interesting twist because normally when you see a scene like that, it's usually like white officers in the army doing all the execution, and then they're telling like either the other minorities to do the executions and do the dirty work.
In American film and TV, it's rare to see other races, other POCs hurting each other in that way. It's usually within their own communities, or it's white people doing that, and or the POCs are doing it back to white people. I don't think I've seen that and that was a shocker. Also, in the United States, we have a way with TV to make war look nice, like with films with Jarhead, things like that. It makes you feel for them, for the American soldiers, when in reality they have invaded some place where they were not invited to. They, are there doing crazy things, and on films we don't get to see that. And this is the first time that I can say I've seen a film where they've shown us there just doing all the wrong things.
Yeah. So the next part, I guess, the when her friend is taken. What did you think about that? Because
I was actually expecting it. I figured they were going to catch her. I was bothered that they had to kill those two women unnecessarily. That hurt.
That, yeah.
I was bothered by the taking of the friend. I was nervous for Jima. At that point, had we already seen the scene with her killing that man? We had, right? Yes, we did.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it had already been revealed that she
had kind of redeemed herself as a person in my eyes for a little bit. And then because at first I was like, yo, she just killed this man for no reason. Like, get out of here. She a witch. Like, I didn't know, what was going on. And then I saw that and I was like, oh, well, I mean, that was still scary. And even though she has those tails, I mean, they didn't save her. They didn't save her friend. So, it's, yeah.
And yes, the tail, speaking of tails, it was interesting that she has control or somewhat of control over the tails, it seems, except for at the end, of course. But God, before we jump ahead to that, I mean, so once Atticus pops up on scene on screen, the first thing he does, shoot somebody in the head. We're like, oh, okay.
He has definitely fallen out of favor, not completely, because it's like I said, on American TV, we make war look good for Americans, right? And so this is the first time that I've seen it look that way, and it makes me nervous. This is somebody who has been shown as a protector, as someone who can be loving, someone who is caring, someone with a heart. And I mean, what I saw was completely heartless.
And then the next time she sees him, it's in the hospital. And this is before the confrontation, because we got to talk about the confrontation with the mom. When she's on her 99th soul, and she just flat out refuses to take the 100th. And then they're, in this intense confrontation, I guess. She's refusing to do what her mom wants, and her mom is refusing to accept her as a human. And you got this stalemate. Then all of a sudden, Atticus shows up in the hospital, and I'm like, oh shoot, what's going to happen now?
Can I break down that conversation?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I know for me, I was confused as to what the relationship was between Shima and Uma. Because although they were calling each other mother and daughter, it didn't feel right. And so for those who did not catch it, Shima is the body of Uma's daughter, but the spirit is not Shima's. It's something else. Basically, the mother was, she had Shima out of wedlock, and then to bring honor back to herself and her family, she married a man who ended up sexually assaulting Shima on multiple occasions. And when she found out, she was angry. So she went to, I guess, a witch doctor or someone who basically told her, I mean, I got something for you. You ain't going to, but it's going to get the job done.
I think it's the lady we see at the end.
Yes. Yeah. And she was like, whatever it is, we need to take it. Right. And so what happened was the spirit, what was the spirit called? The nine-tailed fox? What's the actual name of the spirit? Kyoto?
Let me Google it.
That spirit took over Jima's body, and now Jima's consciousness is gone. It's within the body still. The only consciousness that is there is the spirit of the nine-tailed fox. So all of this, the nurse that we see, her feelings, her emotions, those belong to that's Jima's spirit, the nine-tailed fox. That's not actually Uma's original daughter. Her daughter is, deep inside somewhere. And yeah. And I just wanted to break that down because at first I was having a hard time understanding, and then I was like, oh. So basically, the spirit entered Jima's body, and then the next time that the father went to assault her, I'm assuming, is when the tails came out and got him.
Yeah, so that was number one. And the spirit's called Camille.
Camille.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so there are some psychological and emotional implications there, with the mental state of Atticus, and actually everyone that we see in the show. Like, everyone has got some emotional traumas going on that are affecting how they operate. And it was really interesting to see how they have been both demonized by their parents.
Yeah.
And then that's the connection, that's the bond that they form. And except for Atticus's issues are, I guess, normal. I don't know what else to say. I guess you could call that normal compared to what.
I wouldn't call it normal. I would just say that what she is going through is so far out there.
It's different.
It's different.
It's different.
There's no relating to it. But especially comparing it to last week and seeing Montrose, seeing Atticus beating the heck out of Montrose in last week's episode. And although we know that he was beaten, we now got a little glimpse into what that was like.
Yeah, it gave us some context.
I didn't mention this on this week's episode of the Cookout, but it's important to mention that Montrose had told Uncle George in a previous episode that he was beaten terribly by their father, and that he was a great baseball player, and he wasn't even allowed to go play baseball professionally, and his father beat him until he couldn't play anymore. And then Montrose turned around and did the same exact thing to his son Atticus, and basically, in a way, created a monster, because you have to be, I don't think anybody can just go to boot camp and go to war and be able to do what Atticus was doing in those scenes. So he is just as broken as Montrose, just as unhinged. That's what we see in this episode. We don't see someone who has gotten it all together mentally.
No, I think so. I think one, he's following orders, so that's an element, but he's very conscious of the things that he's doing, and it weighs on his conscience, and he talks about it. Like when he connects, he talks about his regrets and the things that he's done and how regretful he is of it, and he doesn't want to be the monster that his dad is trying to create in him. Like, he says this, so he's conscious of it. He doesn't want to be this, but one, the military is forcing him to do these horrible things, and it's forcing him to tap into this darker side of himself that his father kind of beat into him. And so he's to me, he's not even a catch-22. Like, he wants to be a good person, but he's in two situations where he's being forced to be something else. And because that's the connection.
And I can say that this might be my bias as someone who has never been in the military. But to me, following orders looked like an excuse today.
That's interesting.
And I say that as someone who, everything that I do, I have total control over. No one, I do everything that I want to do. And it is difficult for me to maybe, soldiers as anything less than that. Maybe, they also made that decision. He chose to go into the army. He chose to take that oath, and in a way, he chose to hold. What was her name again? Young Ma. Young. Oh, I was about to call her Young and May. Let me get this name right. He chose to hold young Xiaouni's mouth open while they pulled out her teeth. He chose to shoot that girl. Those were choices that he made. He was following orders, but I mean, no one said shoot that girl. We didn't see anyone say shoot that girl. We saw someone's gun jam and he stepped in.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, those were the orders that they were given prior to any of that happening. So that was the expectation. And you also got to remember that as the soldiers, like, there are spies that are like sending information to the enemy behind the line. So like, definitely, as a soldier, you cannot, like, they can't do that for their own safety.
So I think like, my thing is that he is a soldier doing those things because he is broken. That's why he chose that path.
I think it's a good, well, yeah, possibly. It could be.
Like, I'm wondering if he was loved by his father and embraced by his family a little better, he probably would have been in the war in the first place.
For him, maybe. It could be a motivating factor for him to join the army. I'm not sure.
Well, I'll say he did say in a previous episode that he wanted to get away from his father. And the only reason why he came home was because he got that letter.
Mm-hmm.
Had he not received that letter, he would have stayed as far away from him as he could.
Yep, I agree. So what else? What else we want to talk about?
We were talking about the scene where Atticus killed that girl, and then the next time, and then she must. The next time we see him is the next fall, and he is in the bed, and Shima sees him while she's folding sheets, and he's looking broken and pitiful, and all she has is rage.
Yeah. So he's what's going on there, because he's trying to get his, I guess he's trying to get back to normal, like, because he doesn't want to be bedridden. In that, it appears like he's fighting his I don't know what I want to say, his situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, again, like, that's the life of a soldier. At the same time, because, like, you got to think too, he's seeing his friends get gunned down and killed too out in the field, and so when orders come in that there's a spy that's trickling information to the enemy, and that's the reason why, like, your people the people in your platoon, that's why your friends are getting sent home in body bags. Like, of course you don't know these people. Like, so I'm not justifying the actions, but I can understand why he was able to execute those commands.
Yeah. I also think they went out of their way, not out of their way, but they made sure that we were not happy with seeing Atticus that way when they filmed this, because every other episode, like, just from what you said, he has seen his friends, get killed and die, but they didn't show us that. They showed us him killing Shima's best friend.
That's true.
They definitely want.
I think it's implied, though.
It is implied, but
because the soldiers showed up in the sick ward.
Showed us, they want us to be upset. I think they want me to feel this way.
Yeah, I mean, they don't show anyone that he has a personal connection with other than the Japanese soldier that he's serving with. That seems to be the only relationship that they show with in regards to him in the army. Even his CO, the black CO, we don't know what his name is, but I mean, he's got to have some relationship with him on some level too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, hey, look, life of a soldier in war times is wild.
Definitely. So you were saying Atticus was in the bed and he was trying to get back to normal. He was upset with being bedridden.
Yeah. He was, he's trying to get out of his he's trying to get well. He's trying to force himself back healthy. And so what happened? Like, so what happens next? Does he ask her to read the book? Like, what leads up to that?
First, we see him in bed struggling to read the book because his glasses are broken and he's angry.
Yeah, and he throws the glasses. I remember that.
He can't read his glasses, and she was upset.
Yeah.
At the moment, just furious that he was even there, and just seeing him trying to read a book, she was pissed about. And then it fast forwards to, we can fast forward to him. She needed to change the sheets on the bed, and him standing up and helping her. Did they put a time period on that? Because it seemed like his leg got better a little fast.
I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming they jumped some months because they did. The last year that we see on screen is 1953, and it starts in 49. So I'm not sure how long he was in the hospital, but I imagine there are a couple months between.
Yeah, for 3 months. I mean, I jacked my foot up, and it took a while, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, I think there was some time jumps. I think he got a haircut and everything.
He definitely did.
In that time, so there was some time passing for sure.
Actually, I noticed myself looking like, who is cutting their hair and it's done. That was a thought of mine tonight.
Yeah, especially when he was in the hospital. Like, who was coming there and cutting his hair? And
definitely ain't them. So
who was keeping the fade straight?
Right.
But anyway.
So then we see them. What was it, the Count of Monte Cristo? He asked her to read it, and then she's like,
spoilers. Here you go.
That's exactly what that was. She was like, oh, you want to read this book? I'm about to ruin it for you. That's how I took it. And
here's what happened. Boom.
That's nice and all, Ma, but I'm talking about the book, not the movie. Can you read this?
Right. But then I guess he was turned on by the fact that she had read the book, or impressed at least.
She hadn't read the book. She had seen the movie.
She'd seen the movie. Yeah, you're right.
And that's why she tried to spoil it. And then he was like, I'm not talking about the film.
Right. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I remember that now.
And then we're seeing her finishing the book, and they're getting closer and closer. And then it eventually goes to her meeting him where they were supposed to meet at the gate so that they could go out. And instead, she was taken on base. I was nervous.
Yeah, I had no idea what was going to happen then. Like, this is when the anxiety starts to kick in, because I'm like, all right, like, are they about to torture her? Like, is she about to do the little nine tails thing on the base?
I didn't know what was going to happen, but I remember her she was afraid, terribly afraid. And I felt like it was a different type of fear than when they were on the base and her friend was being taken away.
Yeah.
It was a different emotion. And knowing that this is not Shima's consciousness, but the nine-tailed fox's spirit, like knowing that she has the memories of Uma's ex-husband or deceased husband. I'm wondering if she was fearing for that type of thing for herself. Like, she was definitely uncomfortable. She was definitely nervous. She didn't know what was going on. And I could see that. And it looked different than that previous fear.
Yeah, I was like, all right, is she going to go full monster mode?
And then also
I'm like, it looked like to me the flight was going to kick in.
Well, the one thing that the tails never came out when she was afraid, which is, in my opinion, when she needs it the most.
Right, but we also we don't know the full extent of the power.
Well, we don't know. I was just saying, like, it's
no. That's what I'm saying, because I'm like, I could see that, but she's never really on. It's in a vulnerable moment when she does this, if that makes sense.
Yes, I definitely agree.
So it might depend upon that. Like, I don't know.
Maybe she has to be. This might sound corny, but completely fearless. At the time, I don't know.
Yeah, something. But anyway, but the plot twist, it's a movie night.
You know, even though he just shot the girl in the back of the head and was, you know, dragging Shorty off, that was real nice. That was really nice. As I said on Twitter, that was romantic AF. I was like, oh, I had completely forgotten that he had killed her friend for 2 seconds. I was like, that was real nice.
He's switching the soldier on and off, going
Right.
between human and soldier.
Yeah. And it, in a way, I felt nervous for her because I was like, are you catching feelings, sis? Because this is a real nice thing he did for you, but you're on a mission.
But at the same time, I'm like, all right, are they both catching feelings? Because like, if they both catching feelings, what does that mean?
Also, Atticus did not remember. That's the biggest part. Atticus did not remember her friend. He did that. He had no idea who she was. He did not recommend her from that day. He didn't recognize her from that day when he saw her again in the hospital. He had no idea who she was, and he thought he was seeing her for the first time.
Yeah.
That's what was getting me. That's what I forgot to mention. And I think that's why she was also so angry. Not only did you take my best friend from me, you don't even remember it.
I mean, hell, I wouldn't want that on my conscience.
Oh, he definitely didn't. He
like,
definitely.
It's definitely a defensive mechanism because it's like if you like, what's the point of like having that on your conscience? Especially, I mean, I could imagine a soldier for the first few times they take a life, it weighs heavily on the consciousness. But the more that racks up, it's like, why even bother try to be that conscious in that moment?
Yeah. Another thing is, and also I sympathize for Shima, and it's by this point we already know she's killed 99 people. Right. For all we know, Atticus could have only killed 2 or 3. We have no idea how many people he's killed, and the show definitely makes you sympathize for her when she probably is more of a monster than he is.
Yeah, because I mean, the first one that we see on screen, bro, like she was not interested. to say the least.
That man, he didn't know what he was.
I was like, damn, bro.
He probably bought her a couple drinks. They were talking. He thought it was gonna be cool, and look at him, gone.
He was enjoying himself, though.
He was enjoying. No, I'm not saying he wasn't enjoying himself. I'm just saying, like, you know, he. Dang.
We definitely know what he was there for because he wasn't paying attention to her at all.
That is a good. I didn't think about it.
That man, he was on a mission.
He didn't even notice when things started to change.
No, he was completely in it.
Yeah.
He's completely in it.
We keep going around and around. It's so easy to go back to different things.
It is because it's so much, man. Like,
what's going on?
It's because it's just like, all right, this is why we were like, all right, we're gonna try this raw reaction thing because there's a lot. So let's. I mean, we got 15 minutes. So let's get to the act 3 of this episode.
So they go on their date or whatever. They're getting closer and closer. They have sex, and her little tail joints don't come out.
They don't come out, and she feels it. She feels it.
She feels it, and before that, they tried to do it, and she got nervous. She was feeling like something was going on, and then she kicked him out. And he took that mad personal, wasn't trying to talk to her anymore.
But wait, rewind, because he reveals something before that, which also kind of catches off that he's a virgin.
You know what? That didn't catch me off guard at all. In fact,
caught her off guard, though.
It caught her off guard. It didn't catch me off guard, and in fact, I was expecting it.
Yeah. See, for me, I thought when he said that, I thought that was like there was some sort of stigma attached to her taking a virgin. As far as that like the soul thing, I didn't know if there was like some.
I think it was more so like, wow, this is his first time having sex, and I'm about to kill him because that's what I was trying to figure out. Like, was it her or was it the spirit? Kind of like she didn't realize that she had feelings for him until they started having sex. I think she liked him, but I think her intention when they went into that room was to end his life, and she realized very quickly that she wouldn't be able to, or she didn't want to do it.
See, I think some of that is her, and I think some of it is the spirit. I think the spirit had full intent of killing him that night, but then when everything, all the culmination of everything that he'd been telling her, his vulnerabilities, like them having so much in common, and then I think the him revealing that he was a virgin was like nail in the coffin for both her and the spirit.
I disagree. I believe her. I believe Jima when she says that she has no connection to Uma's daughter, when she doesn't understand her, she doesn't have her feelings, she doesn't have her emotions, she doesn't have her memories. The only memories and things that she has is what she's learned now, and things that she has in her memories from when she killed those men. I think she yearns to understand Jima and to be human, which is why she embraces being human, when in reality she's not right now. She is not human. She's just in a person's body.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and I don't want to take us to the end, but the witch doctor basically says, you playing games, you know, trying to be human all this time.
Right.
But I think she desperately, I think she is feeling those feelings. Those feelings are real, they are valid, and she wants that. She has, for lack of a better term, not embrace the darkness. I thought about you, by the way. That sounded very Star Wars of them.
It was. But see, that's Eastern philosophy. That's the inspiration behind Star Wars and the Force. So it's all connected. Like that I see the connections. You're right. There's that, the duality, good and evil, which is, you know, in every religion. Most cultures, there's some form of good and evil represented in some form of fashion. So like, yeah.
So then they had sex and it didn't go well. Then they had sex again. She was in control and it went well, and her tails did not come out. It was a little short, but it happened. And then after that, it fast forwards to winter of 1950, and they're out there playing house and having a good time and just in a relationship. Mm-hmm. And he gets his paper, or he can leave now if he wants to.
Yeah. So do you think that was the trigger?
The trigger for the tails to come out the next time they have sex? No, I don't think she was planning on killing him. I don't think she even knew what was happening. I think the tails had a mind of their own. And in a way, I think that the tails wanted to find more about him, because if you compare it to the first time he was killed, the last three tails to come out were the eyes and then the mouth. So after, you know, the 9-tailed fox had seen what type of person he was, then they killed him. But in this case, the eyes were pretty early.
Yeah.
It was just her in her nose, and then the eyes came out to see what type of person he was. I wouldn't blame it on that. I think she was just in such control. I mean, she was feeling so good that she wasn't even trying to maintain control. She was completely relaxed in that moment. Versus the first time they had sex, she was controlling herself so that they would not come out. Does that make sense? Like she low-key forgot.
Okay, but wouldn't that contradict your earlier point?
Of what?
About the spirit and Uma not being connected. Who's in control at this point? Is Uma in control, or I mean not Uma, but
No, I'm talking about the spirit. The spirit is who is in love with Atticus. It's not Jima.
It's not the girl. It's not Jima, right? So
the spirit is in love with Atticus, and I think the spirit was just completely in bliss and lost control of their tails.
See, I don't know. That doesn't sit right with me. That doesn't make sense. I feel like, to me it makes sense that both the spirit and Jima exist. They coexist. But in that moment of bliss, she lost control and the spirit came out.
I think you really want that, but she literally told us that.
Because this is what happens in Naruto, man. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm pulling this theory from. It's not, bro. It makes completely sense, bro. It makes complete sense, man. They had to put the spell on Naruto to keep the Nine-Tailed Fox contained. All they need to do is take her to the hidden village and should be good. They'll trap it.
You know, I haven't seen Naruto yet, so I have no context.
How, Sway?
I told you it's too many episodes. This is a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Oh
I need
my
more
god!
advice, no
so
more.
That reference went completely over your head.
All of
with
them.
The Nine-Tailed Fox.
Yes.
Oh jeez. Oh my god. Yes. She's a prisoner. To my mom's point.
What's up, Heem?
Oh, okay. Hold on. Where are we at? Yeah, she's a prisoner in her whole body. I'm trying to tell you this is how this works. I'm trying. If you would watch Naruto
in Jima's body, but Jima is not in control. It's not.
I'm trying to tell you there.
Jima's consciousness is not there.
It is there. Like it has to be there. The spirit is in control most of the time, but like there are moments when Jima comes out.
They better clarify this on the.
But the thing is, I feel like Atticus made a connection with not only Jima but the spirit, which is why she was able to feel. Because now they're both coexisting because they both agree that they like Atticus.
I don't think it's that. I think that the spirit likes Atticus. The spirit has feelings. The spirit is trying very hard to be human. The spirit is not embracing its true desire. It's calling this woman mom. It's getting dressed up, going to work every day, going to class. It's playing a game that it's not supposed to be playing. And yeah, it has feelings now because it's not embracing the dark side. I don't think it's Jima. She told us it's not Jima. She's singing the song like, yeah, I know the song because I got it from your husband's memories. I don't have it from your daughter's. I don't know nothing about what you telling me about what you and your daughter did. Remember that? She was like, I don't know this song. I never saw you sing it to her. So for all I know, you lying. But I know the song because your husband watched her sing it while he was lusting for her.
Yeah. I yes. But see, to me, that's why I'm saying they're both in there. Because it's not like they're okay. So she gets 100 spirits, right? Where's the spirit the whole time? Like, where's the consciousness of the daughter? Is it not in the body? Are they just? Is the witch doctor holding the spirit hostage or the girl? Possibly,
it's gonna fly out. It's going. Thank you, Cheryl. See, Cheryl knows the vibes. Oh, that's your mom. Sorry, Mrs. Cooper. Mrs. Cooper, I meant to say. My bad. Mrs. Cooper knows the vibes. It's gonna fly out all of a sudden after she gets her 100th body, and then boom, her spirit's gonna be back. Her consciousness is gonna be back, and she's not gonna know anything that happened in this time. That's my little theory.
I think she's gonna remember all of it. She's present. She was there for all of it.
What if
she just has no control?
What if we never find out?
I'd be okay with that.
I need answers. They better not do this to me.
I'd be okay with that because I mean, unless that answer is vital to the story, to the main story, then yes, I want to know the answer. But to me, at this point, it's not really vital to the main story. What happens to whether or not Jima and the Kumo spirit survive?
I want to see her because I want her to go to Chicago. Remember, she knows that he's in Chicago. She saw the bus. I want her to go to Chicago, pop up all of a sudden at Letty's house, and then her and Letty. By the way, her and Letty look like two different race versions of each other. I don't know if you peeped that.
You're right. The similarity. So he has a type.
He does have a type.
Tick has a type.
He has a type. Nothing that I want to happen has happened on the show. But if they are just thinking about me right now, maybe season 2, something, I don't know. She's gonna come.
All right. Before we close out though, because we got 5 minutes, did everybody see the little teaser at the end for the preview of the next episode? If so, say yes in the comments because I want to talk about it.
I didn't.
You did. I didn't
I
even see
ran
it.
right here. We got a show to do. I literally ran from the
You
other
could.
room. I wasn't watching it on HBO Max. I was watching it on HBO, so I had to leave the room.
Oh, you got commercials?
No, I had to watch the thing. I had to get here. I had to draw my eyebrows on and stuff.
Oh, you had to do other stuff. That's you could have did that while the little teaser was playing. But anyway, we're going to get our Hippolyta episode.
Oh, the whole trailer was Hippolyta heavy?
Yes.
Man,
And you need to go watch that because it is she has connections. I think she is the Greek god Hippolyta. Basically is what they teased in the episode, yo.
So she
like you have to watch that. If you didn't watch that teaser and you got HBO Max, go back and watch it because you need to see that. Because next week we about to get an episode. I'm trying to tell y'all.
So basically, she's not Hippolyta. She really is Hippolyta.
She really is Hippolyta, but she pronounced it Hippolyta.
She pronounced it Hippolyta.
She called herself Hippolyta.
Oh, I love Black people.
But the whole time she was Black. Even when because they show flats. It's like American Gods. You know how like they show up every now and then in different age and different time periods, but the same person.
Oh,
that's basically what it was.
That.
And I'm like, yo. So what does that mean? Does she not know? Is she not conscious, or has she just been keeping it secret the whole time? Like, houseway. I'm ready for this episode next week.
Everybody has secrets. Everybody has secrets. Also, I did want to compare this to another show real fast. In Watchmen, there were 2 episodes that took place in the past. The first episode was when they showed us Regina King's, I don't know why I'm forgetting all the names, but Regina King's character's ancestor who ended up being the gay soup who was a Black man. And then the other episode that showed us how
you talking about
and Dr. Manhattan's relationship came to be. So the both episodes like took place in the past, similar to how this episode was in the past. And I can say honestly that this was a better flashback episode.
Yeah. I agree. No, it was. I think the writing on it was better.
Yeah.
I think the writing.
I think bore me at all. I was glued to the TV the whole time.
Yeah, because you're more interested in the connections between the characters and like the backstories, because like you've known for 5 episodes that there's some Asian woman that he met, had love interests back in like Korea. We've known this. We've never seen her, but he keeps calling her, and like she keeps leaving these vague coded messages. Now we understand what all transpired with that.
I'm excited for it.
I'm excited. I'm ready for this Hippolyta episode. That got me hyped.
Definitely.
All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up here because it's almost 11 o'clock. We don't want to stay here too long. This is not going to be like the cookout. We're not going to be long form. We're going to try to keep it under an hour if we can. But yeah, this raw reaction. We'll do this again next week. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Let us know in the comments if y'all enjoyed it, if y'all are going to come back and join us for the rest of the episodes in this season. Because we're definitely down. We're going to be here. I'm committed to doing this.
I'm committed. We only got 2 more episodes left, probably, if we know HBO. So we got 2 more weeks, unfortunately. And yeah. Also, again, hi, Mr. Cooper. Mr. Cooper, I apologize again. My bad.
Oh, yeah. Hold on. Yeah. Shout out to him. I didn't shout that out too. We got them, but thank you, everybody. OG Coop. Thank you for everybody who joined and watched. Man, we really appreciated all the support. We got 9 likes. Yeah, check us out. We're doing big things.
Please follow us on Instagram, on Twitter. Like us on Facebook at Certified Gumbo. We appreciate y'all. Please like and subscribe. Turn on your notifications so that every time we go live, you get a little ping on your phone so you can just join us right away.
Absolutely. And we're going to talk about this probably a little bit on Saturday's episode with the larger panel, larger group. So, if there's anything you thought about or think about on this episode, for this episode, just come prepared Saturday, talk about it. or leave a comment in the video after the post. And if you got friends that watch this show, after they finish watching this episode, send them a link to this, because this will be live on the YouTube channel after we're done, and they can come in, write a comment, and we'll address it on Saturday as well. Oh, I also want to shout out Wednesday at probably around 8 o'clock. Julian and I, JBM, we're going to be going live. We're going to do the first episode of The Mandalorian. We're going to do a recap. So if you got Disney Plus and you want to hear our breakdown of the first episode of The Mandalorian, tune in on Wednesday at 8 p.m. When I have a time finalized, I will send out a notice to everybody like I usually do. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, thank you all for joining us. We appreciate y'all. Peace, love, and blessings. And we out. See you next week.